While masked wrestlers aren't as common as they once were, outside of lucha libre, there's still a special attraction, especially when someone unmasks them. Join us now as WrestleMania looks at 16 times masked wrestlers were unmasked. Masked wrestlers are a core component of lucha libre as explained by Rey Mysterio. The mask is a very big tradition in Mexican lucha libre wrestling. Probably 80% or more of the wrestlers wear them. One of the greatest wrestlers of all time in the country was El Santo, and even when he died, he was buried with his mask. A wrestler will only lose his mask at the end of a massive feud. If you've been fighting with a single wrestler for a long time, it will come down to that final moment where it is mask versus mask, and eventually, one of the wrestlers will have to unmask themselves. As we'll see, this tradition has not always been honored in the United States, leading to controversial unmaskings. Number 1. Rey Mysterio. Undoubtedly the greatest masked wrestler of our time, and arguably of all time. Although El Santo fans might disagree, Rey Mysterio far exceeded his cruiserweight status, winning the WWE Championship once and the World Heavyweight Championship twice. During his time in WCW, he wasn't booked as well, and at 1999's Super Bowl IX, Rey lost his mask in a hair versus mask match involving the teams of the Outsiders battling Conan and Rey Mysterio. Mysterio was unhappy with the circumstances of his loss, explaining, "I was strongly against it. I don't think WCW understood what the mask meant to me, to my fans and to my family. It was a very bad move on their behalf. The fans wanted Rey Mysterio with the mask, and losing it hurt me a lot. It was also frustrating that it didn't come as the climax to a feud with another masked wrestler, but in a throwaway match. The same thing happened to Juventud and Psychosis, and psychologically wise, it was a bad move by Eric Bischoff. I think the fans understood that I was in a position where I had no option. I either had to lose my mask or lose my job." Rey would don his mask when he debuted for the WWE, holding onto it despite some close calls when opponents such as Chris Jericho tried to reveal his identity, yanking the mask but failing to expose Mysterio's face. Number 2. Kane. The Big Red Machine is one of the few spin-off characters who has come close to matching the success of his inspiration, in this case, The Undertaker. Portraying The Undertaker's brother, the masked Kane evoked foreboding and fear whenever he wrestled. However, things got even more terrifying when Kane was forced to unmask during the 23rd June 2003 episode of Raw in a mask versus title match against Triple H. Incredibly, his unmasking only added to his reputation as a madman, unleashing an even sicker side of his character. In a 2013 interview with the WWE, Glenn Jacobs recalled the events that led to the unmasking. "I felt like I had gone as far as I could with the mask at that point. At the time, the only people behind the decision to remove it were myself and Mr. McMahon. There was no trepidation on my part to lose the mask. The thought on some people's minds were, if it isn't broke, don't fix it. But this created something new for my career. I knew I could do it, and the reaction in the WWE universe was great." Jacobs' comments about the mask didn't show the attraction of masked wrestlers. "I did think the mask adds a lot of mystique, because you never know exactly what I'm thinking." Number 3. The Calgary Kid. The Miz is awesome. A fact Miz fans have known for years, with one of the best examples being when the future A-lister lost a match to John Cena and was kicked out of the WWE in 2009. However, the next week, the cowled Calgary Kid battled Eugene in a contract on a pole match, defeating Eric Bischoff's storyline nephew for a WWE career. The Calgary Kid unmasked, revealing himself as The Miz, and also revealing his new catchphrase,
"The winner of this match, The Miz, and I'm awesome!"
Number 4. The Blue Blazer. After a successful run in Calgary Stampede Wrestling and New Japan Pro Wrestling, Owen Hart signed with the WWF, working under a mask as the high-flying superhero character, the Blue Blazer. Despite his talent, the Blazer eventually served largely as enhancement talent. He departed the WWE after WrestleMania 5, sometimes working as the Blazer and other times as Owen Hart. Hart would don the mask for a mask versus mask match against Mexican superstar El Canek, losing his match at a Universal Wrestling Association live event in 1991. Hart would return to the WWF without the mask, but would don it again shortly before his tragic demise at 1999's Over the Edge pay-per-view. Number 5. Kalisto. Prior to his run in WWE, Kalisto worked in a number of promotions, including Dragon Gate USA. In 2009, Kalisto challenged Open the Freedom Gate champion Johnny Gargano in a mask vs title bout at Evolve 22, coming up short and losing his mask. Kalisto wears his mask in the WWE, a sign of how luchadors have relaxed their former ban on wearing masks after being unmasked. Number 6. Sin Cara. George Arias temporarily assumed the masked identity of Sin Cara when the original Sin Cara, Luis Alverde, was suspended due to a wellness policy violation. Arias later attempted to steal Sin Cara's identity, fighting him under a black mask and named Sin Cara Azul. The two would clash in a mask vs mask match during a 2011 episode of SmackDown in Mexico City. Following his unmasking, Arias competed as Hunico, but returned to the Sin Cara identity when the WWE released Alverde in 2014. Number 7. John Cena. Have you ever heard of the short-lived masked wrestler named Juan Cena, garbed in a Fruity Pebbles-esque outfit and mask? This enigmatic grappler used the 5-knuckle shuffle and attitude adjustment during a triple threat match against The Miz and Wade Barrett. At the time, John Cena had been fired from the WWE due to a bizarre match stipulation during his feud with the Nexus. Thus, John had his cousin Juan Cena take his place at a house show match, but some fans believe it was actually John under the mask. Idiots. Number 8. The Dark Patriot. While WWE fans may recall the Masked Patriot from his short run in the WWF, they've probably never heard of his doppelganger, the Dark Patriot. Before entering the WWF, the Patriot rose to fame in the Global Wrestling Federation, where he held the promotion's television title and North American Championship. During his time in the GWF, the Patriot found himself confronted by his dark double, the Dark Patriot. The two clashed repeatedly until the Patriot unmasked him, revealing him as wrestler Doug Gilbert. Number 9. Masked Superstar Number 2. Bill Eadie competed as a masked superstar in several territories before concealing his features beneath face paint as Demolition Axe. During a run in Jim Crockett Promotions, Eadie took on a large protege named Masked Superstar 2 to help him during his feud against Blackjack Mulligan. Eventually, Mulligan unmasked Superstar Number 2, revealing he was Big John Studd, one of Mulligan's arch-rivals. Number 10. The Masked Assassin Number 2. The masked team of Jody Hamilton and Tom Renesto were a famous team during the Territory era. After Renesto retired, Hamilton took on a number of partners who competed as Assassin Number 2, one of them being Hercules Hernandez. This version of the Assassins worked in Jim Crockett Promotions, including a match at the first Starrcade. Assassin Number 2 was later unmasked by Boogie Woogie Man Jimmy Valiant, and ironically, Hercules would don a mask again, this time in Mid-South Wrestling, when he became Mr. Wrestling 2's protege. Number 11. Mr. America. What you gonna do, brother, when Vince McMahon sidelines you? In Hulk Hogan's case, he went with the time-honored trope of donning a hood and portraying another wrestler, even though everyone knew who he was. Mr. McMahon tried everything to prove Mr. America was Hogan, including a lie detector test, but the man under the mask remained safe from McMahon's machinations until Hogan had a real-life dispute with the WWE and walked out. Vince had actually feared this and made Hogan unmask himself after SmackDown, claiming it had finally exposed Mr. America's identity. Number 12. The Black Scorpion. In 1990, NWA World Heavyweight Champion Sting found himself stalked by the Black Scorpion, a masked wrestler who claimed to be a figure from the Stinger's past. WCW tried to suggest it might be Sting's former tag partner the Ultimate Warrior, despite the Warrior being with the WWF. The Black Scorpion played mind games with Sting, confronting him with magic tricks and low-rent illusions that kept the fans guessing who the Scorpion was. Unfortunately, WCW wasn't too sure who he was either, utilizing different wrestlers to play him, until they finally settled on Sting's arch-nemesis. Starrcade 1990 featured the Sting battling the Black Scorpion in a steel cage match, with the Black Scorpion finally being unmasked and revealed as Nature Boy Ric Flair. The angle became so convoluted that it quickly earned a place as one of WCW's worst storylines ever. Number 13. Abyss. While some fans initially saw the monster Abyss as a poor man's hybrid of Mankind and Kane, Christopher Parks worked hard to get the Abyss character over in TNA as a monster heel, eventually holding the NWA World Heavyweight Championship and becoming a TNA Triple Crown and Grand Slam champion. Portraying a psychologically disturbed individual, Parks worked an angle where he claimed to be the Abyss's brother Joseph Parks on the hunt for his missing sibling Abyss. Eventually, it was revealed that the two were one and the same, an unmasking of sorts, and one odd enough to make our list. Number 14. Juventud Guerrera. While WCW loved its luchadors in its cruiserweight division, it seemed to love unmasking them even more. Like Rey Mysterio, Juventud Guerrera was forced to unmask, this time in a mask versus title match against cruiserweight champion Chris Jericho at Super Brawl 8. Guerrero's loss had no significant storyline payoff either for him or Jericho, another example of WCW's ignorance towards the significance of a luchador's mask. Number 15. Psychosis. Psychosis was another casualty of WCW's no mask, no problem policy, with the talented masked man losing his mask 2 times, first at a house show to Rey Mysterio Cena in Mexico, and the second time against Billy Kidman during an episode of Monday Night Nitro. And number 16. Doom. The masked menaces collectively known as Doom strong-armed WCW's tag team division under the guidance of Woman following their debut at 1989's Halloween Havoc pay-per-view. By February 1990, however, Doom was losing steam and dropped a mask versus title match to the Steiner brothers at Clash of Champions 10, revealing themselves as Ron Simmons and Butch Reed. They continued wrestling without the masks as Doom, this time under the guidance of Teddy Long. But there you have it guys, 16 wrestlers who were unmasked. Be sure to leave your comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.